different grant levels, and we've added a new one this year. So if you're a club sponsor or you sponsor an activity in your school, we actually have now a new grant level of $1,000 that you can get a little help for your little side after school program. We thought we might add that in because a lot of our staff are doing that, and they're really doing it out of their own pocket, most of them, or just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So we wanted to help out with that. Of course, our individual teacher grants now are up to $2,000. We started that last year. It used to be just $1,000, but now we've doubled that because we know you can't get a whole lot for that much. And even $2,000 is somewhat limiting, but we're trying to get the wealth out there across the board. Grade level, department, or more than one teacher. So if you're collaborating with your whole entire grade level or your department, say the chemistry department, you're going to get at least one other teacher. The only exemption to this one would be if you're the art teacher or you're the music teacher. If you're serving 400 kids or you're the PE teacher at one of the elementaries, you're going to qualify here because you've got tons of kids you're touching. So that's kind of the differentiation there. And then we have an entire campus. So let's say you're writing something for all of Consolidated, or all of College Hills, or whatever. If it's going to affect the whole campus in some way, then you could ask for up to $7,500. And then we also have a couple of larger grants. One that would be like cross-campus. So for instance, last year, Oakwood and Cypress Grove got together and did a grant together. So they got up to $7,500. And then we had the really cool steel drum grant a couple years ago that was CSMS, College Station High School,
in the middle school.
And Cypress, yeah. And so they got they got close to $10,000. And then of course, district-wide impact. The only thing that we've done with this is our social emotional learning website. That kind of fell under this, and that one's still kind of being developed.
Yeah, we haven't really
so
done that.
anything that would affect the whole district, that would be under the $20,000. Does anybody have questions about this?
How many grants were applied for last year?
Ooh, over 100.
Was it on?
I thought it was like 100. Yeah, it was like
180. So I think it's about 1 in 3 that were awarded. So there's some competition, obviously, which is good because that means the best of the best were awarded. So, Amy, do you want to jump in or?
Sure.
I'll tell you what. Let me do
this one and I'll do the next one.
She's been really working on the meat of the application, so I'm going to let her talk more about that. But again, I cannot drive home enough, guys. These are innovative teaching grants. So I get that you have other needs, and I know for a while that we kind of did some more what I call basic supply grants or just needed grants. We're really trying to go back to our innovative grants. We're really trying to bring innovation and creativity into the classroom, and so we really want you to think outside the box and collaborate with others. We'll give you guys some good examples of grants that we've had that have been successful. But really, why is it innovative? Why is it? And the other thing is, it's interesting. Last year we had somebody apply for a standing desk, which it's somewhat innovative in general, but we had done already so many standing desks that to us it really wasn't that innovative, but it was innovative to their campus because they didn't have any. So if it's innovative to your campus, say that. Say, you know what, I know this may be not something that's innovative in general for, everybody, but for our campus, we don't have blah, 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 and we would really like to implement, this is why. How many students does it impact? Again, if you're asking for $5,000, we're hoping it's going to impact more than 20 students. And that's just common sense there. And then also we love collaborations between departments. We'll give you some examples about that as we go along. And then is it sustainable? We really, as much as I love field trips, let me tell you, I'll be the first one. Several of you guys talked about getting off campus. We love field trips, but unfortunately, that's not what our goal is here as a foundation. We want to fund things that are sustainable and almost something that can be implemented from year to year. It may not happen year to year, but at least something that's sustainable for that year and can be hopefully replicated the following year, because a field trip, a salary, food, anything consumable, it's a one and done. We can't, those kids get that experience and then it never can be, and that's really kind of left for the PTOs, and that's kind of their purview, and so we kind of try to stay away from that stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. I think we talked a little bit about they love technology, but they love hands-on experiences as well. So, anything that manipulates items, gardens, like what you talked about, science, using the clay. I mean, anything like that. I mean, I think our group appreciates technology, and like we did the Google, what are those things
The
called?
VR glasses.
The VR glasses. I don't know if y'all seen those, where you can, and that's technology, and it is innovative because it's brand new, and obviously you didn't have to be that innovative because it's innovative in and of itself. But it was really cool because the kids put them on, they can go and see things and be inside of the cell, and so that things like that are definitely interesting. But if you want to be successful, think a little bit more how you would use that technology and how that would make a difference in the lives of the students. Number two, if a program or supplier exists, like I talked about the iPads, we did this huge iPad push a couple years ago where every campus has so many iPads, but I get it. Y'all don't have enough iPads, or not near enough. So my thought is if that's a challenge, just tell us why. Tell us that the science department's hogging all the iPads or whatever's going on.
Because the board wants to know that. The people
Yes.
that read these grants are our
Yes.
board members who are community members. So they're not as close to the schools. They don't know
Yeah,
what
they're
these
very
challenges
removed.
are.
Yeah.
So,
And they're only hearing bits and pieces of what they think's happening,
Yeah.
and so we have to sometimes fill in and say, no, you don't
so
understand.
we've added that as a question now. That is a specific question that you can answer
Yeah.
on the application.
The more students impacted, better, but certainly we're not going to hold that against you if you only have, here's an example. We have some special needs kids that we've done grants for, and we have a handful of those kids, and we've actually spent some pretty significant money on a small number, so we're not against that, but it has to be justified, I guess. Okay, we talked about that. All right, so we're going to do another little exercise.
Just real quick.
Just real quickly, because we're trying to get you to think about common things that can be used differently. So obviously take a red brick and just think for a second, what are some ways that this brick can be used? And just shout it out as you think about it.
To build things.
Okay? So
The house.
specifically what?
The house.
A house.
You've run out the window to break the house.
Okay, I like it. I like
Anybody
it.
used to prop open a door.
Yes. Good one.
Hammer.
Yeah.
To measure, a unit of measure.
Oh, that's good.
That's a really good one.
Anything else?
Comparison of color.
Good. Yeah, because I actually, when I picked this brick, it wasn't as red as I wanted it to be, so I thought about that. Anything else?
Protection.
What do you teach?
English.
Oh, wow, okay. So you sound like an art teacher over here. Jay, did you have something?
No,
Oh. Anybody else? Okay, so the point being here is just, guys, you think about an iPad, you think about whatever is out there a computer or laptop, there's all kinds of different things we can do with it. So just, get outside the box, think about what that item can do in your classroom to make it different, make it unique, make it exciting for the kids. So just kind of trying to get your juices flowing. Okay, whoops. Things got very sensitive. Okay, so our grant application is now all online. We did that last year. It's on an actual software. It's a third-party software called Smarter Select. And last year was our pilot year to use it, and it went really, really well. And so I think it's even better this year. Amy's been kind of our lead on getting that all online and developing it. And so you have to get online. You have to create a username and a password to access it. But the beauty of it is you can go on there, start your application, and save it, and then come back to it and save it, and so it's a working live document. And then once you click submit, it'll be sent to us, and then you can attach. We'll go through the whole application here shortly, but it's very user friendly, I feel like, and I think you'll be pleased with it. All right, I'm going to toss it over to Amy.
Okay, yeah, sure. So the first thing, instead of clicking on that link and showing the website now, I think we'll just go through this. And at the end, if we have time, we can actually go look at it live, so that way you can see what it looks like. But the first section will be just your basic information of who you are, what campus you're from, and if you want to add any other teachers. We have a spot up for 10 teachers to be on a grant together, so you can keep adding multiple teachers so we know who's a part of each grant. First thing that after your name will be the grant overview. So this is a snapshot of what you're asking for. So the first thing is your grant name, and we like creative names. Try to stay away from putting your campus name in the title, because it is a blind review for our board members to read the grants, so we don't want them to know which campuses are applying for which grants. So just be creative, but don't use your campus name in it. if
And
that
by the way,
makes sense.
I know y'all are welcome to take notes, but we will
Yeah,
share
we'll
this
post
with
all
Shannon
this.
so you can access this.
It'll be on our website, and we're recording some of this to post as well.
Yeah,
so.
we're gonna.
Description, we want it short and to the point for that grant overview section. We'll have another spot for you later to give all the details of how you're gonna make this happen, but that helps us when we're trying to get a snapshot of what you're asking for, is through that short description. The amount requested, so you kind of need to know how much money you need and to make sure it falls within the type of grant that you've chosen, to make sure you're within that range. And then, has it been previously funded before? So if it has been, then we give you a question or a spot to say why you're asking for it again, or if it's at a different campus and you just knew it was a success and that's why you're applying for it at your campus, we give you a spot to explain some of that reasoning. Any questions on the overview part? Okay. The proposal part gets a little bit more in depth. This is a new question. The very first question is, what is the current issue or area of improvement which you're trying to address? The board really wants to see or understand your perspective as a teacher. What is the struggle in your classroom? Why did you come up with this grant? And we'll show you an example here in a minute of a proposal from last year that we just copied exactly what that teacher had written so that you could see kind of how it was laid out. What will the students learn? That's another question. What are the objectives you're hoping to accomplish? And we want just a snapshot of, I want them to see this in 3D because they need hands-on experience, because it's really hard for them to visualize. And then why does this project deserve funding? So here's your chance to make your case of why this grant is necessary. Okay, so here's an example of a grant last year from the biology department. And what the teacher wrote was, much of biology is molecular and cellular and is therefore difficult for students to visualize. That's her issue. So she says, having three-dimensional models